us on our bi-weekly visit, Watertown Mayor Ried Holien. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for joining us. We appreciate you making the commitment and waking up. I don't know if this is early for you, but it seems early.
Today it just feels early.
Yeah, sometimes it's just in the winter, one of those, but we're going to have a nice day, Doreen says, so that's nice.
Actually, the weather, at least
Sunny.
Yesterday and today, I hear is going to be okay.
Yeah, we don't
for
have to,
December in South Dakota.
Yeah, we don't have to worry about the future too far ahead yet. So, but thank you for coming in. You had a city council meeting last night, and pretty routine, I think, overall. But maybe we could cover a few things with a little bit of more in depth. Some of it, the budget supplement. I think that's something people usually wonder about. You guys had that all approved, and just a few questions about like banking fees, for instance. That's sounds like it's hitting a lot of businesses, let alone the city, really bad.
And banking fees, at least there was a lot to that, but the main focus of the questions last night and the main focus of council was essentially credit card fees.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think everyone has to have at least seen it personally in their own expense reports, or when they get their own bills.
Mm-hmm.
You can start seeing that things are changing in the credit card world. There pretty much has always been let's say a hidden fee, convenience charge, whatever they call it. A lot of places will call it a convenience charge.
Mm-hmm.
So there's always some of that included whenever you used your credit card. And then a few years ago, businesses started getting hit with that really hard, where if they got hit with a 2% processing fee on every transaction, well, that adds up quite a bit over the course of a year. If you're essentially, most of your sales probably, I guess I shouldn't say for certain, but let's say a lot of your sales are done by credit card. And if you're losing 2% off of every sale as a business, that affects your bottom line and whether or not you can stay in business, because a lot of these margins on companies are not a lot. I know restaurants, in restaurants, the margins on what they make versus what they charge is very slim. So 2% can add up to a lot. So businesses started charging that back to the customer several years ago, where if you use a credit card, we're going to, it's like, sorry, but we're going to charge you 3% on top of your whatever you spend. And that went back to the customer. And there's just, I don't know fully what's going on at the national level, but I know on the national level out in Washington, D.C., there's a lot of conversations as far as restricting the fees that credit card companies can charge, because everyone now understands that it all trickles back to the consumer and that it's real people paying the price.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's Paul Harvey, one of the old radio people, he was always famous for saying companies have never paid a tax.
Mm-hmm.
If you charge companies a tax, they just charge it back to the consumer. Mm-hmm. And that is exactly what's happening with credit card companies now. So essentially, the city of Watertown, we are a company with a lot of the things that we do, and we offer a lot of amenities to the people of Watertown. And we're being hit the same way every company and every person is. If we're paying these credit card companies 3%, then we are essentially, that's 3% that is being borne by every person in Watertown. So when you start looking at it like that, like, seriously, what's the big deal of a credit card fee? But when you're talking 3%,
Mm-hmm.
and then that's a shortfall that we are experiencing with every single thing we offer. So every time your kid goes to a parks and recreation program, goes to the swimming pool, every time you go to the wellness center, every time you play softball or a program, or pay for anything, even an ambulance fee, if you're paying with credit card, then essentially everyone else in town is paying your convenience charge. Well, what happened is there was a couple things that happened, and the credit card companies that the city of Watertown did, we lost track, and those fees became a lot higher. to the tune of like double digits, like over 10% convenience charges.
Wow.
Well, and what happened is we got a fee of about a budget shortfall, essentially related directly to credit card fees of almost $250,000.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. And so we had to do a budget supplement to pay for that. That was part of it. That wasn't all of it. That was just one of the things. That was what council asked most of the questions about. Most of the budget supplements flew by. No one was raising a question about it because a lot of people understand that we budget ahead of time as best as we can, but sometimes you just don't fully understand how much a facility is not going to be used or how much it might cost or if there's an unexpected problem. As in the case last night, we have a forestry machine that it basically got to the point where we needed to get it fixed. And it's not an easy fix, so it's $4,500. Well, we have to pay it because we have to deal with our trees. So no one's going to raise a stink about that. But credit card fees to the tune of $250,000, yeah, that's going to raise some concern. We had already corrected it. That's the good news. We had already corrected it. It's just we had this budget shortfall that we had to pay for. And it's a shame, and we will do better. It was a combination of many factors, but we're on it now. We're paying attention, and actually I think good things will come of it, because what we're going to be doing is we're going to be much more diligent upon what processor we use and all of that stuff.
And essentially they were going to just charge that back to the customer. So like you were talking about, the city then isn't taking on that amount. So it's not like another revenue stream. It's just kind of placing that expense back onto the consumer. Yeah.
And it's a shame. I mean, sincerely, I do. Me as just a person, as a citizen of Watertown in the United States, I'm hoping that our federal representatives in Congress can get it figured out, because it is getting out of control with the credit card companies. I would be okay personally paying at least some sort of a charge, but when some of these credit card companies are charging double digits for their processing fee, I mean, I don't know. You buy a concert ticket. Does it really cost?
Yeah.
Does it really cost
$8-9
Ticketmaster $50 to process your ticket and a convenience charge? It does not.
Right.
Okay? I'm just saying it right out there. Right. It does not cost them $50. They're charging it to you because they know you're going to pay. That, to me, I can understand you're a company, you have to stay in business, but I can also understand when you're charging more than what your service is worth. And I'm hoping that the federal government, because it really is going to take a federal solution, the city of Watertown, look, I'm not going to call up Visa or MasterCard and say, hey, you charging us too much. They're not going to listen to me. It has to be solved out in DC. I hope that they can get some control over it. Like I said, I don't understand all of what's going on, but I do know what's happening in real life with real people it's really starting to affect us.
Very good. The other thing that just kind of caught me that maybe was worth mentioning is Councilman Allen had asked about the utility costs being up like $32,000, and City Manager Alan Stager mentioned it was kind of that first year of the ice arena operation, and not really sure what to expect for the expense of something like that first year.
That's exactly one of those, let's say shortfalls, because we projected as well as we could, but when you have a brand new facility, we don't have anything to base that on. After the first year, we at least understand better, but it's not just a shortfall either, and that's one of the things that I want to tell people. Let's say if you're talking with the ice arena in particular, they also have booked way more ice time than what anyone had expected as well. So it's also making more money than what we expected it to. And it's being busier than what we expected it to. But also with that comes the fact that we have to then staff it more, because it's being busy more, and we have to have someone ready with a Zamboni to clear the ice for the next group. And, so there's just a lot with how the facility is being operated that we were learning at the time. But that's an ongoing process. It's a continuing education with everything when it comes to government, especially with the facilities that we offer as amenities to the citizens of Watertown, because the wellness center has been around for a decade now, roughly. I think maybe a little bit longer, and we're still learning on that because things change, times change, and the national economic inflation affects whether or not someone feels like they want to buy a membership at the wellness center, for instance, or pay their kid to go to the outdoor pool as a season pass and things like that. So we're still figuring it out as that goes along too, because and then you also have, like, as a facility is there for a few years, there's always a learning curve. It never goes away.
Right. Very good. Also, some good negotiating, it sounds like. Mr. Stager also mentioned about the unions. They got a 3.5% wage increase, and some insurance didn't increase, so that kind of helped out too. And it's just, I can't imagine what it's like to kind of try to balance and negotiate that. Do you ever have to get involved with any of that much, or?
To some extent. I'm never involved directly in the negotiations, but peripherally I pay attention to those, and obviously work well with the city manager. And then council is brought in regard to what the union had asked for, and also taking the pulse of both sides to see, are people happy with the negotiations? That's not always the case. I think that was the case this year. So the two contracts that we approved last night were the firefighters and AFSCME, which is, if I'm getting the acronym correct, it's the Association of Federal, State, County, Municipal Employees, something like that. And we were able to give them a 3.5% increase essentially in their salaries, but also the benefits and stuff like that. And two noteworthy things. Number one, we did not have to raise their health insurance supplement. So it's not, we were just talking about passing on a fee. A lot of times what happens is our costs, meaning the city's cost to provide health insurance to all of our employees, a lot of times that goes up. We can't really completely control that because we can't control insurance premiums and the risk pool and all of those things. So sometimes that can go up considerably. That was not the case this year. We basically stayed the same. So the increase, the 3.5% increase that the employees are getting, is going to be a complete increase. It's not going to be like you get 3.5%, but you have to pay 2% more in your health insurance. That's not the case this way. So this was a pure increase. So we're not passing on any charge. This is exactly what they are getting. The other noteworthy aspect of this is Governor Roden just came out with the state of the state and their budget, and he proposed no increase whatsoever to any state employee. And that's across the board. So I'd like to point out that this is Watertown. We're doing well economically because we can pass along an increase. And also, and I know that the state values their employees as well. But, it just shows we value our employees. We're doing well as a city. We're passing that along to the people who help make that happen.
Very good. And those unions, they're temporary agreements, right? Like every few years, they usually kind of.
It's a ongoing negotiation.
Yeah, that's what I thought. It'd be interesting to talk to a union rep or something sometime. I don't know. Never done anything like that before. But also, you guys did just a little, I don't know if there is a discussion on this, but Councilman Lynn Jerns asked a couple of questions, but on a video lottery expansion, it was just a license transfer to kind of help an expansion. Is that right? Or a little bit compliance?
Yes. And so what this was, The item itself was pretty simple, which is, I mean, I think I can call out the business because, I mean, we mentioned it last night. So one of the cowboy stores is taking an inactive license, particularly with video lottery machines, and they're going to add video lottery machines to an existing location. Or I think that was it. I mean, again, forgive me if I misspeak a little bit, but whenever you add video lottery machines, that also comes with some regulations that you have to stand up for. So the two items actually on the agenda were not controversial whatsoever, but Councilman Jurens was asking more peripheral questions, more holistic questions about the state of video lottery. And I actually had to ask him afterwards for clarification because he was asking questions like, what about ingress, egress? Basically like people coming in and people going out, because it's like if you add more machines, if you add it to an existing location, like you can't just add it to a liquor store and then you can't just add it to an existing place and then just not do anything else to it. You have to provide, doors to come in and out. You have to control who can get in. And part of what he was getting to last night was you also have to have a plan for smoking.
Oh.
It's basically going back to the smoke shack discussion that the city of Watertown has had ever since the state passed the smoking ban in 2010. The state passed a smoking ban, and then they never gave any municipality, any city, any direction on what to do with it. And I think you can tell that I'm a little frustrated with this because I've been through this. And I'm not saying that this is coming up again. And I appreciate Councilman Jurens for asking it, because what happens, I'm just going to say what it is. We constantly have an issue where some of the places that offer video lottery look the other way when people are smoking inside. And we know it happens. And when it happens, we have to send our police force out there to enforce it. But the problem is the state has never offered any guidance whatsoever on what constitutes a smoke shack, what constitutes ventilation. And I've been through like I said, if this comes up again, this is going to be the fourth time in 5 years that we've dealt with it, and we get nothing from a state level. And it gets incredibly complicated to figure it out. But at the same time, we have the smoking ban. That's what he was getting at last night in his questions. Not the expansion of the cowboy. It was that there are existing places that have gotten lax in following the rules again. And
interesting opportunity.
Yeah. So we'll see what's going to happen. I think I'm going to follow up with Councilman Jurens and say, what are these locations? And then we'll send the police out again to them. And that truthfully is an annoyance. I mean, if I was a citizen of Watertown who didn't smoke and didn't do video lottery, I would be annoyed that we are spending our money on sending the police to enforce something that you should be following.
Yeah. I used to be a smoker, and I could see where that would be convenient. And now, not being one, I can smell it from 10 miles away, and I'm like, "Oof, no, thank you."
Yeah.
So to each their own, but I get why they're there.
So, and I do want to make it clear that wasn't, I didn't raise the question. When I asked Councilman Jurens about it after the meeting, he told me what it was, and I said, "Okay, that's interesting," because usually when people will call and tell me what's going on first, and he heard about it before I did. But like I said, this is nothing new. It's just a recurring issue in Watertown, and I think it's a recurring issue. I know it's a recurring issue across the state. I've talked with other mayors. I've talked with other cities. It's really hard for a municipality to tackle that on their own. I've always wanted some state guidance on this, but let's just say it's difficult for them to handle as well.
Okay. All right. Very interesting.
Probably more than what you wanted to know about that one.
No, actually, no. It does interest me because I know, there's over the years, there's been businesses that have tried to adapt to that regulation, and some don't agree and some agree. And I know it's caused a lot of grief over the years of smokers, non-smokers, business owners, and ones that are trying to follow and the ones that aren't, and all that stuff is a mess. So no, appreciate it. The other thing I just wanted to mention, I know you probably don't have the specifics, but give them a little shout out anyways. Blake Dahle and Bonnie Oletski, they're transitioning from the Planning and Commission and Board of Adjustment board, right? And so like they've been on there for like 10, 15,
I think it's over
20.
I'm pretty certain it's over 10 years for both of them. I think for Blake, it's been 15. It's been a long time. And really last year, I went back and really looked at that board in particular, because that's the one that gets the most attention. And I talked with everyone who had been on the board, because most of them have been on for many, many years. And just reinstituting their terms, staggering them so that we can get on a better system of, let's say, renewing terms or finding new people. And with both Blake and Bonnie, I talked with them and I said, in particular, last year and the year before, I said, would you be willing to serve for another, at that time, I think it was 2 years that I asked them to serve. And we're getting to the end of the 2 years. And they both said, it's like, yes, we would like to see this through to the end and give you the time to find someone to take our places. What was great about that is we brought in 2 alternates who then got a year as alternates on the board so that they could really learn the process and learn the rules. And occasionally they would be called on to vote, but really they got to sit back and learn. And now those alternates have moved on to full board members. And that's a process that I'd really like to see happen over and over again with, in particular, those 2 boards. And when I say those 2 boards, they're essentially the same thing, because the same people that are on the Plan Commission are also on the Board of Adjustment. And they meet at the same time. It's essentially the same board. Okay?
Yeah.
But that's a process that I'd like to see continue. And we need good people who are interested. So if you are interested, go to the city website. There's a place where you can apply to be on any board in the city of Watertown, and that's one of them.
Very good. And
so Bonnie and Blake, thank you so much for all the work that you've done for everyone. That truly is a thankless job. They don't get paid. They get criticized, and they have to show up for a lot of extra meetings. There's a reason why not a lot of people volunteer for that.
yeah. That's thank you. That's what I was going to say. Was I've covered it, for a while, and out of all the meetings I cover, I think those 2 are, they would be the most complex.
Yeah.
They're not controversial always. They're not always difficult, but they're like that first gatekeeper almost for businesses, developers, residents, and they ask some very complex questions. And you've got someone like Todd Case, who has also been in the development world for 40 years maybe or so. And so it's I really appreciate what they have to go through to kind of, and then it has to get into your guys' lap after that. So it is a process, something people should probably learn about if they don't know. So you can go online to the city's website and apply then to be a board member and go from there, right? Okay. That actually was most of everything that I had prepared for us, but I always want to make sure I leave you a little time if there's something you want to jump on.
There was one thing on the agenda last night. It was something that we had been dealing with as a city for quite some time, but I did want to say thank you to the state of South Dakota for offering or for bringing forward a $500,000 grant to help us pay for a lift station out at Calvin Industrial Park. This is something that will benefit all of Watertown for decades to come. Basically, the lift station is going to be able to provide water both to any business that wants to relocate there, expand out there, or a new business that wants to come into Watertown. And those industrial parks are great assets to a community. There's a reason why every community wants one, and you have to make them attractive businesses, because we are in competition with other communities. So offering something like a good lift station, that they're going to ask that. I mean, they're not going to expand into Watertown if we don't offer these this infrastructure for them.
Yeah.
And that's just one of the aspects, along with roads and things like that, that you have to offer in order to bring in more jobs, which then helps all of Watertown. So the state of South Dakota stepped forward with a $500,000 grant. Thank you so much. Help us pay for that. It's a great asset to all of Watertown. And then it's Christmas season. Just going to do the plugging shop local. It matters a lot. I would like to say I did spend, well, it's not the only time I've been downtown, and I've been to other businesses as well, but I did spend like over 6 hours one Saturday going to like every store downtown Watertown. I learned a lot of things that are going wrong in the city.
Yeah.
If the mayor comes in and shops at your store, someone sees you there, goes, "Hey, by the way, my street isn't plowed. Get on that."
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. Anyway, but it was good. There was a lot of really nice people. I mean, well, and everyone is nice. I mean, if they're sharing something that concerns them, that doesn't make them not nice. It means like, okay, I'm shopping and now I've got to, I'll write this down. I'll get back to you on that. But anyway, it is important. It's important for everyone in your community. Two other things that I'd just like to plug, because it's going to be the last weekend. The Optimist Club does a great job with Winter Wonderland out at City Park. I feel very comfortable plugging that because the Optimist Club gets a lot of donations because people go through it, they look at it, and then it's a free will donation. But the Optimist Club has done a lot of really good things in the community with the money that they raise, in part from Winter Wonderland. So it's a free entertainment thing. Go out there, enjoy the Christmas lights. And then also there's Santa Land out at the Watertown Mall. That's fun for the kids, fun for older kids too. So, I want to point out that, and the downtown businesses have done a great job of staying open late on Thursday nights, and they're offering fun things to do. So 2 weeks ago, it was live windows. They had live people doing, like dressing up as elves in the window. So something that you could look at. And then last week it was a cookie crawl. So every place that you went to, they offered free cookies, different cookies. They're doing a good job of providing extra things for you to do. So at least go down and, show them some love. They're trying. They're staying in business. They're trying to offer us good stuff. I don't know what this Thursday is, but I do know that they stay open late especially on Thursdays in the Christmas season. Some stores do it all the time, but I know Thursday is one of those nights. So anyway, get out, support your stores, Winter Wonderland, Santa Land. Yeah.
Very good. Well, that was a perfect wrap up. I don't think. Yeah. Well, there you have it. That's Watertown Mayor Ried Holien on this week's The People's Pulse. Every other week we have the mayor, or if he's absent, we'll have some city official in here helping out. But thank you for joining us again. We appreciate that and your time. And that'll do it for Northeast Radio SD.